support for that.
Andrew, you opened up by, well, earlier you talked about being willing to take a pay cut once you get to Congress. That's fine and dandy on the campaign trail, but how are you gonna be able to explain that to fellow members of Congress if you're elected?
Well, the same way that I explained it to fellow members of the legislature when I took a pay cut when Connecticut was in the depths of our recession. And I wish the governor had taken a pay cut, honestly. It was because I think that the best way to get people on board with something is to do it yourself. And I try to live by the creed, never ask anyone to do anything that you're not prepared to do yourself. And once you've done something yourself, then it's not so hard to ask other people to join you in doing something. I'm not a big believer in do as I say, not as I do, because I think it doesn't hold water after a while. Yes, sir.
Along that line of thought, what about moving Congress into the same Social Security retirement system that the average American is required by law to participate?
And I would be all for that. Nothing is more offensive to me, and understand I'm an American citizen today, and nothing is more offensive to me than having a Congress which lives by rules that are different than they expect all of us to live by. And that's to that point. Congress should not be exempt from any law. Quite frankly, I think members of Congress should be held to a higher standard than citizens in the community. And I certainly would commit to you that I would never support, I will actively oppose any legislation that puts us as members of Congress in a different place than ordinary citizens, and I would work hard to repeal all of the vestiges of that favoritism which exist. And now I'll get myself in trouble with all of you, but if I haven't already done so, let me get myself, or I'll get myself in trouble with some of you, maybe not all of you. But I've been asked to sign Grover Norquist's pledge. And Grover Norquist is this individual who wants members of Congress to all sign a pledge that never under any circumstances would they ever raise any taxes. Now, I'm a Republican. I'm not a big fan of raising taxes. I think it hurts our economy, and I think it stifles job creation. But none of us knows what tomorrow's going to bring. And I'd rather have you be mad at me for not signing a pledge than for you to call me a liar tomorrow because I signed a pledge and then something happened and we needed to deal with it. And I just don't think it's responsible to paint oneself into a corner, particularly given the magnitude of the problems that we're facing. So my view is that spending reductions are absolutely essential, and that needs to be our focus. But I don't want to sign the pledge because I'd rather disappoint you today than be called dishonest tomorrow.
Joanne. Education.
Yes.
We know we need jobs. It's very key to our future, but we have young professionals leaving our state, leaving this region, we're the oldest region in the state. What are we going to do about the whole educational standards and to strive to prepare them for the jobs that we know exist, and yet employers are telling me they can't find the employees?
And no phenomenon is more alarming than having record high unemployment, 9% unemployment, and then meeting with small manufacturers who say, I have openings in my plant at my factory, but I can't find young people who have the skill set to do the jobs I have available. And as a member of the state Senate, one of the things that I've worked on is in connecting that dot. And the jobs bill that we passed last fall happily is replicating a very successful program at Asnuntuck Community College in Enfield, where local manufacturers communicate with the people that run the community college and develop a curriculum where people, when they've completed it, know that they will have jobs, good jobs, manufacturing jobs with benefits and good pay. And so what we did in the jobs bill last year was to say, let's do that in 2 other community colleges so that manufacturers can work with our educators to make sure that kids are taking the classes that will enable them to get the jobs that are available, because it's a crying shame when manufacturers have openings and they can't fill them because our education system isn't producing the skill set that's needed.
Yeah.
Mr. Axelrod.
When you get elected.
Okay.
I don't like the word if. When you get elected. I pulled up the computer. I'm thinking of moving to Savannah, Georgia when I retire, because Savannah, Georgia is one of the top 10 places in the country to retire, where Connecticut is one of the top 10 not to be when you're elderly. What do we do to fix that?
Well, and actually, sadly, Connecticut was deemed the least good, the worst place to retire.
I didn't want to say that.
Well, I mean,
could've
it's
topped that.
it's in the press. It's out there. Anyone can Google Connecticut retirement, and what's going to come up? Worst place to retire. Why is that? Because the cost of living is so high, and people on fixed incomes can stretch their dollars a lot further in other parts of the country. So what Connecticut needs to do, in my opinion, is to begin to make it more affordable to live here. How do we make it more affordable to live here? We start by reining in the growth of state government, being very careful about what we expect local government to do, because property taxes are a huge fixed cost for people. And when people are living in the family homestead and every year the bill for the house gets bigger and bigger, it's our obligation to make sure that they're not forced out of their houses, that they're not forced to move away, to leave the state because taxes are so high. So that's a good place to start. And I think the more business we can bring here, the way we're going to succeed as a nation, the way we solve Medicare and Social Security is by prospering as a nation. Because when we prosper as a nation, more people will be paying taxes, more money will be going into the system. Economic growth is the answer, not class warfare and trying to tax people that create jobs more, because we'll end up with fewer jobs and the downward spiral that we potentially face if we don't get our act together. And I need to be rude because I'm due at yet another event. There are no days off in the next 35 days. But the greatest gift that any candidate can have is the gift of your attention. And I thank all of you for making it your business to be here this evening, to give me your attention, to allow me an opportunity to share with you what my goals would be if you give me the high honor of serving you in Washington, D.C. So thanks to all of you, not only for your for being here tonight, but so many of you have been such good friends throughout the years that I've served, and all of you are contributing to better the quality of life here in Northwest Connecticut. So thanks to all of you for making a difference every day. And Tim, to you and Joanne, thanks for providing the forum and the public service that you're providing to all of us in Northwest Connecticut. People get to see the candidates with your own eyes and hear with your own ears, and there's no substitute for that. CTN's a close second, and thank you, CTN, for being here, but being here in the flesh is the best it can be. So thank you both. How are you?
You're okay. Yep. Come on.
Carol, nice to see you. Thank you. That's important stuff.
They're ridiculous. You like that?
Yeah,
Don't take that serious.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 hour for the stage. Pretty short. You can't. I mean, you can't ask too many questions.
Did you get my press release last
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, John. Andrew, take care.
Tell every freshman in college to take your credit card.